Good afternoon. We are just over 5 minutes away from the start of our third draw game in Pool B between Bowdoin College Polar Bears and the University of Nebraska Omaha Mavericks. You see right now the final draw coming in for University of Nebraska. So we are just checking in right now. This is Brad Johnson on the mic. I'll be joined by my partner, Pat Howard. We will be talking to you throughout this game. We'll be back in about 4 or 5 minutes with the start of this game. And we are back on the mic. I'm Brad Johnson. I'm joined here by...
It's Pat Howard on the mic with Brad.
And today we will be covering our third draw for, again, this is Pool B, second game for them out of 3. So this is actually 2 teams that won their first pool play games. We have Bowdoin, the Polar Bears of Bowdoin, who earlier this morning beat the team from Minnesota Duluth. And we have the Mavericks from Nebraska Omaha, who beat RIT this morning. So 2 1-0 teams. The winner of this game will be in the driver's seat to win the pool, or at the very least advance out of this pool into the quarterfinal round, which will be tomorrow afternoon. So their format for this College Nationals is the 2026 USA Curling College Nationals hosted by Schenectady. The format of this league, or of this Nationals, is 16 teams, 4 pools of 4. Top 8 teams will advance, so that is the top 2 teams out of each pool will advance and end up playing in the quarterfinal round, and so on and so forth. So you see 2 teams that are 1-0 facing off again today. So with that, I'm joined here by Pat Howard. Pat, thanks for joining me today. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Brad. Should be a good game. 2 1-0 teams, like you said. Looking forward to watching some good curling.
Absolutely. And so while we're in a little bit of a lull here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bowdoin should have the hammer in this first end. Bowdoin with the red rocks and Nebraska Omaha with the yellow rocks. We will have to introduce the team. So I'll start with introducing Bowdoin, throwing lead rocks but vicing is Federica Lombardi. She will be vicing but throwing the first rocks of each end for the Bowdoin Polar Bears. Second rocks will be Jack Lerman. Third rocks will be from Marin Cooper, who is also skipping the team. And throwing fourth rocks will be from Miles Benson. And for Nebraska Omaha, that one is a little bit more traditional in terms of the order. We have lead Liliana Delgado, second Peyton Johnson, vice Isaiah Jacobson, and skip Sawyer Hager, throwing in that order as I listed. So good luck to both teams today. We'll be on the call. Hopefully we're shaped up for another good game. We've had 2 games so far that have been absolute classics on our feature sheet. Both happen to be coincidentally between Colorado and Pennsylvania teams. So this is the first non-Colorado Pennsylvania matchup. We do still have a West team, obviously, in Omaha, Nebraska, and we do have an East team of Bowdoin out of Maine. So these 2 teams definitely coming from other sides of the country here to Schenectady, New York to face off. And getting in the hack now, ready to start this game, is Liliana Delgado from Nebraska. So Pat, what are some of the things you look to do when you're starting off the game, if you're skipping a team and, first couple rocks, what are you looking at? What are you trying to get a gauge for?
First couple rocks is, want to get a gauge on how fast the ice is, try to get some rocks in play, just make sure everybody's got good slides, got a good feel for the ice. And yeah, that's about it. First hand, I always like to get a lot of rocks in play.
Absolutely. So first rock here from Liliana looks a little heavy. It's an out-turn draw. It looks like this is going to be a little deep in the house. It might hang around, but sweeping it here from Bowdoin is Marin Cooper sweeping that rock, and that gets out of play. So we will start from square one now with the hammer team. And we now have lead rocks being thrown from Federica Lombardi, who is also vicing this team. Same turn, coming in the out turn. It did look like she was calling for the center line here. So Pat, in general, what's a strategy that you like to look for if you're the hammer team, especially in these early ends? How do you like to play it?
In the early ends, if I'm skipping and I got the hammer, I don't mind going into the house right on the wings. Even if they throw up a guard, I think, you put rocks in play early on, and you force them to try to make a hit, try to create some offense for themselves. And if they start missing, all of a sudden you got some rocks on the wings. You can maybe get lucky in the first end, get 3 or 4.
Absolutely.
Good guard from Frederica there.
Absolutely good guard in play. It looks like they're going to try the same thing with Liliana Delgado for Nebraska. trying to dictate play more towards the center. That typically works in the favor for the non-hammer team when you drive play towards the center. So out of curiosity, Pat, if they had wanted to, why didn't they take out that stone, the red stone, the guard there, Nebraska?
That red stone, the first 5 rocks that are outside of the house, it's in the free guard zone, and those can't be removed until after the 5th rock has been thrown. So it gives you a chance to kind of throw some rocks up front, and create offense, great play without teams just instantly removing some of those rocks.
Absolutely. And so I know a lot of people on the broadcast here probably watched at least some amount of Olympics, and obviously Winter Olympics comes curling. So a big thing that drew people in this year was the mixed doubles team of Corey TC and Corey Dropkin out of Minnesota Duluth. Actually, that's where they play, and they won the silver medal for USA. So had a great showing there. So hopefully that has attracted a lot of people to the sport. Obviously, we know, Pat and I know our audiences may vary in terms of their level of experience and their level of knowledge. So please feel free to use the chat if you're watching this stream. Pat and I should be checking it relatively frequently and able to comment on anything that you may have questions on. If you have any concerns, if you can't hear us, anything like that, feel free to just leave messages in the chat. Even if it's just where you're watching us right now. I've already seen some go Omaha, go Mavs, go Bears. So looks like we've got support for both these teams right now on this feature sheet. We love to engage with our audience, so feel free to chime in whenever you see fit. And I'll give reminders as we're going through this game. So right now, just a reminder, Bowdoin, the team with the red rocks, has the hammer. They have a stone right now in the back of the 8-foot there, and it looks like they're drawing another one in. That's probably going to go bump that stone, but stick around most likely. We'll see. And it does. So 2 stones in the back there. When I say hammer, Pat, what do I mean by hammer rock?
Hammer is the team that has the last shot. So anytime you have the hammer, you're looking to score more, kind of keep the center open, so you're always guaranteed to at least get 1. But ideally with the hammer, you want to take 2 or 3 and kind of take the lead, take the charge quite a bit when you got the hammer. For yellow right now, they don't have hammer, and they got a couple good guards up front. If they can ever, bury one behind those guards, they're looking to set up, pretty good here to force Bowdoin to, try to force them to 1.
Absolutely, and this is just an excellent-looking shot, really.
Really good shot. Right, fully buried, right on the button.
Absolutely, and that was, I believe, the last stone from second Peyton Johnson. So
great shot from him.
Really excellent shot there, and so that's one of the things where the non-hammer team, I would imagine, this is kind of where I was going next with the question. Non-hammer team, what do they want to do? What do they want to accomplish?
Well, they're looking to clog up the center, shrink the scoring area. The closest to the pin, that's the team that scores. So if you don't have the hammer, you don't have the last shot. Make it as hard as you can for the other team to get a multiple score. The best way to do that is kind of what we're seeing right now.
Put it right on the pin.
Plug up the front, and then draw right around, put it right on the pin.
Absolutely. We see comments in the chat right now on the pin. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, great start from Nebraska in this first end.
Absolutely. This is definitely playing to the tempo of Omaha, Nebraska, as in they don't have the hammer here, but they have it nicely clogged up. They have a stone covering the pin. Really going to be difficult for Bowdoin to work with that. They have to open things up at some point or make a tremendously difficult shot to be able to get to that.
Ice rocks out from Isaiah. Looks like he's trying to draw around. Get something in that 4-foot if he can.
Absolutely, and I've been covering this sheet all day today. This is the side that definitely is showing a lot more curl, so I do like coming for this out-turn direction here. That was a little heavy, and that's to be expected early on. A lot of these curlers that are playing, they typically play on arena ice. I know particularly from talking with Mary, the coach of Nebraska. I know that they're saying that don't necessarily have dedicated ice yet. They're looking to get dedicated ice, but the ice quality is perhaps not the same as you get when you have USA Curling coming in and prepping your ice. So the rocks are going to be very fast, very quickly. And even we curl here at Schenectady, Pat. Even our first end, if we don't run the rocks first, a lot of times it'll be a little slow to start. Yep. No, not today. So a lot of these college students that are curling, first couple of rocks are definitely flying on them, and I've seen that across the 2 games so far today.
It's always nice when you can have USA Curling come in and help you out with your ice.
We should come in more often.
Yes,
right? And a stone right through that middle port. Kind of picks out that yellow guard there. That's a nice looking rock, and that has now at least opened up a port where they being Bowdoin can actually get to that yellow rock.
That's what you wanted. Open it up. You can see all the yellow now. Forcing Nebraska to make replace that guard. If you don't replace the guard right, all of a sudden you can hit that yellow.
Absolutely. And that looks like what they're calling right here is just a high guard, something that clogs up that port that you and the audience can see. We love our hockey ice. I'm seeing comments here in the chat. Believe me, I respect the hockey ice for sure, but definitely changes the game a little bit playing on dedicated ice versus arena ice. Dedicated, of course, what I mean by that is dedicated for curling purposes. The ice is not what you think it is when you're looking at a hockey rink. It is different. We have pebble. We have different textures to the ice. Different things that we do on dedicated ice that makes it optimal for curling.
Looks like that rock's open. Looks like you might be able to get to it with a hit.
I agree. Yeah, so that guard, the line was good, but it was just a little bit heavy enough where it actually unfortunately got right to nose for Nebraska. So there is still a tight port. It's not an easy shot at all for Marin here, but if Marin Cooper can throw a hard stone right through that center port, it looks like there's definitely a chance to pick out that yellow. What's interesting here is the turn that it seems like they're choosing. It seems like with that turn, the only way it's going to hit that rock is kind of, if you're looking down the sheet, is on the right side of that rock. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. They end up switching the direction that they're coming. And I think this is a good decision because now the only way you're going to hit it is probably more on nose or left of nose. And that way that yellow doesn't run right back into your own red if you're Bowdoin. Yeah. It's a tough shot. It's not a bad result if it just picks a stone.
Oh, really close.
Oh my goodness.
What a great shot.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Jeez, I am not known for being good with controlling my curse words, so I have to do it here on air, but that is one where I feel like certainly that's a heck of a shot. That's the polite way to put it. That's a great shot right there. Through the port, gets the double. I was just thinking hit it and try not to jam, just splendid shot right there. Really splendid 2 shots.
Makes you feel real good the first time you make a shot like that.
Absolutely.
A lot of confidence in the rest of the game.
Just changed the complexion of this end. Changed the complexion of this end for sure. Went from Nebraska basically guaranteed steal as we were gushing at the beginning to Bowdoin sitting 2, and it's going to be tough. You got to basically follow it back down if you're Nebraska. Try to split that port. Oh my goodness. These students are just unbelievable. That one rolls a little bit, so Bowdoin is going to still be sitting 1, it looks like, with that back one. But now all draws are back in play. Man, we're in for a good one if we're seeing shots like this. I'm pretty excited. Sure. You could give me that shot 7 times in a row, and I might get close to making on the 7th try. Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. So right now, Bowdoin's going to try to draw around the wide way. This is the side that I have seen curl by watching this earlier today, so it does look like this is over curling. It's going to crash on that guard. Doesn't really do any damage. Nothing bad happens there, just, nothing else. Gets a pesky guard out of the way. It is still nicely clogged in the center, though, so if Nebraska can get around those guards and get under cover, it will still be difficult for Bowdoin to get to. But with the shot making I've already seen, I don't doubt that we might see some run backs in this game. So we saw the sweepers on those shots through the port earlier, sweeping pretty hard and then coming off. What exactly is the point of sweeping the stone, Pat?
So you can do a couple things with sweeping the stone. I mean, the main objective is a lot of times trying to make the stone go further, but as of late, a lot of people found out you can kind of direct where the stone's going to go. So you can sweep on one side to try to push the stone over, or sweep on the other side to make the stone go a little straighter.
Yep.
And that helps out a lot, especially on hits when you don't necessarily need the rock to go any faster because it's hit weight, but
yep.
You might want to try to direct the stone as best you can to get it through that tight port. And, Skipper did a real good job, both for both teams, calling the line and making sure that they get the stone right through the port. That's half the battle, 200 hits.
Absolutely.
That's another great shot too.
Yeah, this really is. I mean, that is not only is that undercover, but it's glued on top of that red. So what that's effectively done is that is guaranteed that red stone is this might be famous last words, but that red stone is almost never going to count in this end.
Yep,
it's now
so you just shrunk that scoring area.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. Shrunk the scoring area. Now Bowdoin has to play to the 8-foot for the rest of this end.
It's also impressive about that shot. They were going to draw the other way, and last minute, he saw the shot on the other side, called the other way, and
made a great shot.
Yep.
Love the shot making I'm seeing so far from both teams. And the draw here just going to come a little narrow. It is going to bump the yellow. Will it be enough to get them second count? It looks like it will. It looks like that's half 8-foot, and the red one is maybe biting 8-foot. So that's unfortunate result for Bowdoin there, as that was the hammer stone, and that allows for a steal of 2 from Nebraska. Great shot making on both ends for that end. Unfortunate how that ended for Bowdoin there, but it's a 2-0 game. Bowdoin will retain the hammer going into the second end, and we hit our 1-minute break. So while we're on that 1-minute break, why don't we take a look at some of the scores around town. Looks like what is that, yellow 3 there on sheet 1? That's RIT. So RIT with a strong first end against Minnesota Duluth. They're wrapping up this end here. Didn't catch the ending of that. And sheet 4, this is the Hammer Rock on its way down. We can stay here for a moment, just see. This is Colorado State, who I called this morning. This is Brandon's last stone there. Draws, does not quite get there to the 4-foot, so it looks like a steal of 1 for Minnesota, University of Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, Minnesota Twin Cities. Steal 1 and are up 1-0 against Colorado State on sheet 4. And back to our feature sheet. We're now out of the 1-minute break in between ends. Geez, wouldn't you like a 1-minute break between ends? Our club, nice. On our club
level, for sure.
Club level, typically we play on a clock. That I mean, both of these are playing on a clock, but the clock works a little differently. At the club level, we typically just play. You need to play as many ends as you can in a certain amount of time. Usually 6 ends by roughly
95 minutes.
95 minutes an hour and 35 minutes. Yep. If you do, you get to play your full 8-end game. So a lot of times you see teams hustling as soon as an end finishes, clean up the rocks and go. But here at the Nationals level, the timing works a little bit differently. So you have half an hour of thinking time, discussion time. You get 1 timeout, and then also you get 1 minute in between every end where you can regroup, talk, and get ready for the next end.
It's nice because you might be pretty tired after sweeping your skips rocks, and all of a sudden you're throwing lead.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Step up right in the house and
exactly.
right into the hack and start fire away.
Exactly. Yeah, your skip makes a great draw for 3, something like that, and you swept it the entire way, and then time to throw lead rocks now. Probably more of a problem for whoever's second on the team. Probably hates that situation. So setup here looks like the first guard from Nebraska maybe over-curled just a little bit over the center line. And then Bowdoin decided to draw behind. Really nice draw behind on the top 4.
Quite a bit for them.
Yeah, this rock seems to be cutting, and they're trying to push it here to see if they can chip out that red, but it doesn't look like they're quite going to get there. So Bowdoin has chosen to play down the center. Kind of interesting. I think the first end, too, after Liliana Delgado of Nebraska missed her first guard or draw through the house, I saw Bowdoin end up calling something towards the center. I wonder if that's just how they like to play. They maybe like to play more towards the center with hammer. I've seen strategies both ways.
Yep.
I've seen you call it both ways, as Pat and I have played together on multiple teams, but most recently I've seen Pat, as my skip, has been flexible with his skip rock strategy.
It's always fun to see, play with different skips, see, different people's strategies, how they like to call a game, and there's really, it's a lot of times there's no right and wrong way to do it. It's just kind of how you envision your end's going to go, and call a good game based on that.
Absolutely, and that's just a great pair from Federico Lombardi. 2 really good stones behind that guard. It's not even an easy hit. I mean, it is there, but it's going to be tough. There's a good chance of a jam, so only 1 stone gets out here, even with a made shot from Nebraska.
Looks like they're sweeping it over, try to run the yellow up. I almost got it.
So it does end up peeling the guard, and it looks like Bowdoin will be happy to just replace that guard with a guard of their own.
Yep.
Now they have 2 stones really nicely positioned there. It is doubleable, and by doubleable I mean with a good stone from Nebraska. Could get both stones out of play with 1 shot, but you put a nice guard here on that line, and you'll take that away. And Bowdoin's in a good position here. One thing our friend here that's sitting to the right and acting as a timer said, and I will say to the audience here, is it does also depend strategy-wise on the shots your team can actually make. That's a really good point.
That's a big part of it. And then and then you can also call shots based on what the other team might not want to, see you call.
Exactly.
If you got a lead who's not making a lot of hits, maybe, you always put your first rock in because, you're not confident in the other team's lead, taking that rock out. A lot of small strategy things like that can come into play if you think about it right.
Absolutely. So this stone overcurls just a little bit, so it does look like it's exposed for another chance at that hit. So they are going to give second Peyton Johnson another crack at it. Lefty, it looks like. We love our lefties.
Looks like they're trying to push it over.
Yeah, it looks like it's sailing a bit wide, but we'll see if we get it. Liliana's sweeping hard.
Get the top one.
It is going to get the top one. Just pick it off, but that's an okay result.
Doesn't him down.
Yep, doesn't get both, but does get 1 out. Still exposed, so Bowdoin's got to do something about it. Looks like they're trying to play the game of guarding, having counting guards up on the top there. Definitely not a bad idea, especially because with how exposed that red rock is. If you chose to just draw on the other side or draw somewhere else, there'd be a really good chance for Nebraska to hit that red rock and roll under those 2 yellow, or the 2 guards that are there, 1 red, 1 yellow, and then it's going to be very difficult to get that out. So I like what they're doing here for Bowdoin, and the game that Marin Cooper is calling for her team.
That's a pretty good guard.
That is a really nice guard. There, it is still a little open on the side. Probably going to be difficult to get to nose of that stone.
Yeah, I think if you chase it, I mean, you could probably chase it, but I think you're always going to roll over a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And it looks like Sawyer Hager, skip for Nebraska, wants to call the hit and roll, but maybe he's reconsidering, saying it's going to be very difficult to actually get across nose there.
It looks like he wants to run the red back. This is a good call here. If you run it back, you get the red on, it's in the 4-foot, that's great. If you open it up, that's great too. You got hammer. Just make sure the other team has hammer, but...
Absolutely. In the chat, we have a comment. If my stopwatch is telling the truth, looks like draw weights here are similar to our ice in Omaha, but you can actually play both handles everywhere on the ice.
Really nice run back from Jake.
That is a really nice run back. Really nice run back right there. It's well executed. But yeah, that makes sense. Our ice can be plenty quick on arena, but there are certain lines that you may not be able to actually effectively get any curl on, and so that's probably what alluding to in terms of playing both handles everywhere on the ice. There might be certain lines where if you try to throw an in-turn inside out or something like that, the stone's just going to dive on you, and you have no chance of actually executing that shot. And you'll see that sometimes on ice that is not dedicated for curling. Oh, we did also get a comment that these 2 commentators are better than the last 2 from a Mr. Greeny 58.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah. Well, I was on the broadcast for the last one, so I'm the common denominator there. So this clearly indicates that you're better than who I was sitting next to.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Appreciate the nice words from Mr. Greeny.
Yeah. Much appreciated for the compliment. All right, so that's actually a really nice shot there from Bowdoin. Especially the fact that that's a counting guard, essentially. It takes away that draw path for Nebraska, and also the fact that it counts means that if this end were to hold the way it is, that's an extra point right there. So
yeah, you kind of cut off that whole side for Nebraska to draw around. So yeah, not a bad shot at all. It's
absolutely.
Counting. It's right up front. Takes away the draw path, like Brad said.
And here it looks like Nebraska's calling for this wide hit and maybe a bit of a roll afterwards. Any reason why they might be trying that hit? And they executed. The stone didn't stick around, but they poked it out. Why they would be trying the hit instead of a draw or something else, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, you could have drew around there, but Red's sitting 1 or Red's sitting 2, and they have hammers, so it's nice to just hit 1. And a little roll is a benefit, but even if you hit it, Bowdoin's got to hit your rock back, so make the other team make a shot. Sometimes that's just what's best.
Yeah, it's like playing the percentages. So I'm going to take this rock out of play, so I'm doing some damage control. If it works out and I get a nice hit and roll, great. But even if it just hits like it did right there, just enough to get it out of play, that's a fine result. Where if you try to draw and be aggressive, and you end up leaving it short or miss, well, now you're staring down the barrel of possibly giving up 3 or 4 in an end.
You see Bowdoin going to that same in-turn again, or that same out-turn again.
Didn't seem to curl as much as they wanted to, and I've seen that pole side line has seemed to run just a little straighter than teams seem to think that it will. And we've seen that playing that here at Schenectady, but obviously our ice normally versus our ice right now with USA curling and prepping it might not be synonymous, might not be the same, but regardless, that's still a decent draw right there. It's definitely sitting sitting shot, but now they have 2 counters in there, Bowdoin does. And Nebraska's got to do something with it.
It looks like Nebraska's going to go and chase this rock. It's in the back of the 8-foot.
Absolutely. It's not a bad result if you end up throwing it a little light, just like a down weight kind of hit here. You don't necessarily need to throw anything huge.
You can throw a hacker board at this, and I think that's probably what he's looking to do.
Absolutely.
It's a little up from that.
It does look a little up, and this is the line that runs straight.
So it keeps sailing out.
This is unfortunately not going to come back that I can see.
I think the weight was close.
Weight was close.
Hacker board.
Yeah, it was a lot closer than I thought. Just this line seems to be running straight, and I've seen that in the 2 games that I've covered earlier today.
I think Bowdoin here would love to have a rock kind of top 12, almost symmetrical with their other rock that's on that side.
Absolutely.
Cut off, guard the rock that's back 8, maybe put another counter in there, you're sitting 3.
Exactly, and basically force that even if Nebraska makes a hit, they're not going to be able to get in the house, right. Essentially. Yep. Something high.
Nebraska might have to try to draw the other side, but you haven't thrown that way yet, so that's not that easy either.
That's right. This looks like a nice looking draw here from Bowdoin. Honestly, that was the shot I thought Nebraska might try on their last shot. Is basically the shot that Bowdoin just threw there. Just kind of that draw to the inside, maybe inside freeze. If you remember in the first end, there was that really, really nicely done freeze. I believe it was from Nebraska too in the first end that went down to that back 8 rock. So freezes are not always easy shots, but sometimes that you can call the freeze, and if you're a little heavy and it just bumps the stone out of play, that's not a bad result either.
Yeah. In Nebraska now, they just showed you the draw path. You can definitely make this shot, cut them down, or maybe even sit shot. You can probably get some of that 4-foot and get shot out of this.
Absolutely. It's definitely the one problem really is that high red stone is you got to get around that red and then get some late curl. So It might be hard to get shot, but it's definitely not impossible to cut down the scoring area and maybe hold them to 1 at the very least. So we'll see. But it does look like that Nebraska has changed strategy from hitting to drawing.
Looks like it might be a little big here.
A little big.
Check up.
Yeah, and hanging wide again. Liliana's on the stone trying to push it.
This might be okay.
Is it going to curl enough to at least get to some of that backing? That's the question. It'll rub it. it's not going to really do much. I mean, it does outcount that top red. So Bowdoin is thinking about going for a big end here and does seem to want to take that yellow out of play.
Yeah, Bowdoin's got a pretty wide open hit to take 4.
Now with
really good end for them.
Absolutely. Is this the hammer rock? I haven't been counting the rocks.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, then that's the shot. You hit that stone out of play and you stick around. That's for 4. And yes, this is the hammer rock. So we're watching a chance for Bowdoin to take a 4-2 lead. A good sign is that they have the inside sweeper sweeping it, especially on this line. This is the one that's been falling out wide. So the inside sweeper is a really good sign. And that is a really great shot from Bowdoin right there. They get their 4, and they take a 4-2 lead. So complete jump from down 2 to up 2 in a span of just one end.
Great shots all around from Bowdoin that end.
Absolutely. And with that, let's take a look around at some of the other sheets.
Sheet 2.
Sheet 2, we got a game between RPI in the Red Rocks and Penn in the Yellow Rocks. I called a game for Penn this morning against Colorado State. Went to an extra end. Colorado State emerged victorious, but really good game. And it looks like they jumped out to a 3-0 lead, they being UPenn. So we'll keep an eye on that. RPI were the comeback kids in the first game that they played this morning, so we'll see if they can do that again. Over on sheet 4 here, we see the Minnesota Golden Gophers taking on the Colorado State Rams. Right now, it looks like Golden Gophers are sitting 2. They're the Red Rocks. Seems like they're in a pretty decent spot to at least get 1 here. Depends on if there's going to be a hit and roll on that stone out wide. And in sheet 1 here, looks like they've started the third end. I don't see a score hung for the second end, and it doesn't look like they blanked it, so they must not have hung the score yet. So we'll check back in on sheet 1 in a little bit. Excuse me. Loving the commentary so far from people watching here with the different options that they have there. This is really already shaping up to be a really good game. I like the shot making we've seen between some tight ports and some tough draws. Already love to see a high scoring game, just 2 ends in.
Great start from Bowdoin here. Lead rock, right on the center line, real tight to the house. You get 4 and you have your lead, making their guards like that feels real good for the next end.
Absolutely. So while we have a brief lull in the action as we're setting up the ends, we did ask some of the college students ahead of time and gave them a questionnaire to fill out. One such question was if they had any shout-outs that they wanted to give to people watching. So we have a few here that we'll say. Family at home in Italy and former teammates who taught me. That's coming from Federica Lombardi. So shout out to her family at home in Italy where they just hosted the Olympics. So maybe saw some curling there not too long ago. Marin Cooper from Bowdoin wants to shout out her parents, her lab manager, and former teammates Evan and Ben. Hopefully they're watching now and get the memo. And Miles Benson wants to shout out Anya Workman. So thank you to all who have inspired those on the Bowdoin Polar Bear side. And before I go to the Nebraska side, let's just check back in on the action here. Looks like Nebraska is going to try to draw down behind those staggered center guards. So they are also going to play more towards the center here. This is Liliana Delgado's second stone.
This rock looks a little big, but you might be able to curl it in.
A little big, little wide. You do have backing if you can get to that red, but it's got to curl.
Yeah, it's not going to curl enough, but...
No, not quite.
That line seems a little straight, so we'll just see how that holds up throughout the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will keep an eye on that. And in terms of Nebraska Omaha, let's see. We have some shout-outs for Julia Castle for keeping me in the sport, supporting the Uno curling. That's from Isaiah Jacobson. And Sawyer Hager says, my family and girlfriend Kendall always supporting me and cheering. So shout out to you guys for watching. Ah, interesting. Arena national silver medalist Isaiah Jacobson. That is fascinating. So we've got some royalty here in the in this game that we're calling here. Exciting stuff. Channeling his inner Matt Hamilton, indeed. For those of you who aren't as familiar, Matt Hamilton is a curler. Does play doubles, actually, but most famously won the gold medal with Team Schuster in the 2018 Winter Olympics. Known for his mullet-like hair. I think he's cut it since. I don't know if you've followed him recently, but
I think did he have it cut at Nationals last week?
I think he did. I believe
he did
so.
Too.
But definitely an inspiration to many.
Yeah, great ambassador for the sport. Always having fun out there.
I'm referring to down to bare arms while sweeping, yes. So let's take a look at this shot here. Looks like Bowdoin's trying to just draw a second counter in. Ideally, you want to leave this probably high, but just out count that yellow, which honestly, that's a pretty good looking shot. And it looks like Nebraska's probably going to have to do the same thing that they just did before, try to hit that. Ideally, they run it back and get that double on the 2 red rocks. It's probably Nebraska's best way of opening this up and making that top yellow ever matter for scoring purposes. Hard sweep here by the aforementioned bare-armed Isaiah Jacobson. Does take the stone out of play, but does not get the double, and the shooter, the stone that was thrown, does roll out of play. So it seems like it's a rinse and repeat here for Bowdoin. And Marin Cooper, the skip, throwing vice rocks, so rocks 5 and 6 of each end, coming down to throw her stone. Pat, how much does the scoreboard change your approach when you're skipping in terms of strategy? I mean, it's probably too early now to really think about that, but I'm curious to hear your take.
No, definitely. I mean, it'll change it quite a bit. You know, if I'm up a lot and and the other teams got hammered for a couple lines, we're stealing. I don't mind with the first few rocks, just putting them in the house. Tell the other team, hey, because if they hit, you hit right back. You're okay keeping it open when you got when you're up. So yeah, definitely changes how you think about the game. Like if I'm Bowdoin here and they're already up 2, I like having a lot of rocks in the house. Making it hard for them to get multiple score.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. It looks like Nebraska, seeing those 2 red rocks kind of glued together in the back 4-foot there. It's not an easy hit. If you do hit, it's probably gonna roll out wide, especially on the straight line. They're just going to try to draw right on top. Ideally, maybe full 4-foot, get behind those guards in the front. So we'll see.
It's pretty close on line.
Pretty close on line for sure. And you can be a little deep here, and it's going to be a little deep. That's a perfectly fine shot there.
Your shot now.
Yep, your shot rock, basically biting the button. It has tightened up the scoring area, but it's so nicely corner frozen that you do have some options later if you want to try to get multiple points if you're Nebraska here.
See, Marin can make a really good shot here and, put one, kind of freeze it right on the inside of that yellow. It's going to be real hard for them to get rid of that red rock for Nebraska and score here.
Absolutely. And that kind of speaks to, how that shot right there that we just saw from Isaiah, really nicely done, by all means. But it is tightening up that scoring area, as we kind of have talked about throughout this game. And
yeah,
when
you got hammered. That's the last thing you want to do, shrink down your scoring area.
Exactly.
You want a chance to get multiple points.
Exactly.
It's a little big, but
if they can get it over enough, it's okay. Not quite enough. It does create a little separation there, but Nebraska's still sitting 1, pretty much on the back of the button.
I think if you're Jacobson here, you just just think, hey, I just want to throw the same shot, put another one right in the forefoot.
Yep.
You're sitting 2.
Yep. And this is one of those situations where, yeah, the scoring area is not large, but you have a wide open draw path. Keep putting the pressure on, and you might still be able to get 2 or 3, even without a big scoring area.
Yeah, if you put this right on the pin and they don't draw, make a good draw to it, you got a chance to get 3 in the forefoot.
That's right. Oh, it's close. Oh, it skinnies past those guards. That is an excellent shot right there.
A very good shot.
By the arena national silver medalist, Isaiah Jacobson, as I've been told.
It's above the tee line. There's no way for them to draw down to it and kind of sit in a pocket somewhere.
Absolutely.
That's a great shot.
That is a great shot. And this is one of those situations, again, where everything we've been saying, it's all relative with curling. You don't necessarily want to play to the center with hammer. You don't necessarily want to tighten up your scoring area. But the situation that you're sitting in right now, you're happy. You're happy if you're Nebraska and you have the hammer here sitting 2 pretty comfortably. Bowdoin right now is going to just try to draw one on top, maybe freeze on top and cut them down to 1, or maybe give them an option later if they can bump it. But right now it's all about tightening up the scoring area if you're Bowdoin and trying to have your stone ideally being one of those stones in that tight scoring area.
Looks goes for the draw.
It does. It's got to curl a little bit more. By no means is that a bad shot, but when it's the shot before was so perfect that just gave kind of the option there for that to roll out. Hard to tell who's second count right now. I think it's yellow still.
I think it is yellow. I think yellow's 1 and 2.
But it has effectively made it so that scoring area is, you pretty much need to be biting the button or like an inch or 2 away from the button, or the button here I'm referring to is that white innermost ring inside the forefoot there.
Well, yellow's got a good chance to put another one in the forefoot, maybe sit 3, make it real tough on Bowdoin's last rock to...
Absolutely.
Make it real tough on Bowdoin's last rock to cut them down from 3 to 2.
And we've seen some just excellent shots so far in this game. Not surprising. I mean, we are at USA Nationals, so these are some of the best, college students in the entire country. But this has been, at times, otherworldly.
Well, he looks close in this draw for Miles.
It does look really close. Oh my goodness.
That's another great
shot.
shot.
Oh my god. Well, they're definitely 1, 2, 3 right now. That red rock is the only rock I see that might be peeking out of that forefoot. So it looks like they're sitting 1, 2, 3, and really Bowdoin's option here is just try to get on the top of that stone on the button.
Yeah, you do. I mean, for Bowdoin, on the plus side for Bowdoin here, they can draw that red rock right in between those 2 yellows that are just above the tee line. You have a little pocket there. You might be able to cut them down to 1, which would be real great, but they are sitting 3, so you got to make this draw real good.
Absolutely. So Miles Benson with his last stone here. Sweepers are on it immediately, trying to hold the line, so it's probably a little narrow. If they can hold this line, narrow's not bad, but and they're already off it. It looks like it's gonna over curl, or it's too light, and that's exactly what happens. Just ends up being another guard. I guess if you're Omaha, Nebraska, you try to draw a 4th one in there. That's it. Talk about getting a big end without having a big scoring area. Not traditional, but when you're throwing darts, it certainly helps.
You're guaranteed 3 right now if you're Bowdoin or Nebraska.
Yeah, if you're Nebraska, I would say guaranteed, although I've seen plenty of shots that actually bump you out. But it does look like it's going to be pretty difficult to bump themselves out. You could even bump your own yellow.
Heavy too.
Yeah.
When you hit the yellow, that red's going to just pop right out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good point, Pat. I actually, the way those stones are lined up, it seems like it maybe is a guaranteed 3 with your miss here. If you're going to miss, it's just a little heavy. Bump that yellow back into that red.
A little bigger. It's got to curl over though.
Yeah, make sure it curls. And they're doing that. They are definitely trying to get it to curl.
Trying to push it over.
It's coming. Oh, this is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is going to be real good.
Yeah, keep going. You might as well go all the way to it. I don't think you can hurt it. Yep. That's a great
end from Nebraska. Really good.
So
shots.
Everything we were joking about, or well, not joking about, seriously, with hammer, you don't really want to play the 4-foot game, but when you put 4 rocks that are all basically biting the button, man, that is an excellent end from Nebraska.
And that just goes to say, there's different ways to call an end. If you're confident with your team drawing to the 4-foot, all of a sudden you stacking rocks in the 4-foot. Good luck to the other team getting, stopping you.
That's exactly right, Pat. So Nebraska counters Bowdoin's 4 with a 4 of their own, and it is 6-4 after 3 ends. We got a high-scoring affair here on sheet 3.
Trading 4s over on sheet 3.
Sheet 1. And RIT has absolutely jumped on Minnesota Duluth here. This is, wow.
Just like they're up.
7-0? 7-0 after 3 in the 4th end. RIT looking strong right off the bat. And looking at sheet 2 here, it looks like Penn did get a point in the 2nd end to go up 4-0. And it looks like they're sitting 1 now, so RPI gonna have to dig out of a hole again. And over on sheet 4, looks like we are still finishing up end 3. Is that score, what is that, 1-1? It's 1-1 on sheet, thank you, Brian. 1-1 over on sheet 4 right now. Right now with what looks like Minnesota Golden Gophers, Minnesota Twin Cities sitting 1 with the hammer. And back to our feature sheet now. So first rock from Liliana Delgado. Looks like it overcurled just a touch, but it is in the guard zone. As Pat mentioned before, the free guard zone. I see the comment here, Nebraska is in Lincoln. We are Omaha. I would argue Lincoln is in Nebraska, but I guess that is correct. This is University of Nebraska, Omaha. Unless Omaha considers itself a separate entity from the rest of Nebraska. Got it. Thank you very much for clarifying in the chat. So the first stone from Bowdoin, the lead rocks from Federica, again looking a lot like end number 2. A really nice draw behind that guard. And this second rock from Liliana overcurls a bit, but does move the guard out of the way. So now it's opened up. And so now if you're the non-hammer team, if you're Nebraska, you're up 2. You don't really have any center guards in play. Do you consider playing a more open end here, Pat?
Because now, if you don't have any guards on the center line, maybe you try to keep it open, make sure that, try to hit out some of Nebraska or some of Bowdoin's rocks, just make sure, because it is open, you don't want them to all of a sudden sit 2 rocks on, opposite sides of the house. Maybe you keep it open, you're okay with a blank.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like here Bowdoin's going to try to split the house, and this stone is looking pretty good. It's not going to get behind that guard, but it is going to be second count here. Pretty high up on the rings there, so.
That's a good brush there. Make sure that rock gets in the house. Make sure you count 1 and 2.
Absolutely. So a couple good stones from Federica there.
And yeah, we see Nebraska trying to go for the hit.
Absolutely. So we got second Peyton Johnson now throwing stones. And we got bare-armed Isaiah Jacobson sweeping to try to hold this line. And once again, as mentioned, on this line, if you're holding line, that's actually a good sign because this is the side that falls out more. But as I say that, unfortunately, this one did not fall out enough and does end up over-curling and flashing.
Bowdoin's got a good chance here to set up a nice end. The hammer again. Both teams, doing real well with their hammer.
So we have here for Bowdoin, Jack Lerman, lefty here. Had a lot of lefties here on this feature sheet. There were 2 from Penn State earlier this morning. I believe there was 1 from Colorado State, or 1 from Penn, actually. So definitely seeing a lot of lefties in nationals here. And that's a nice looking draw there. Frozen right down. It's going to be probably pretty hard to double those stones out. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I don't know if you can double them out yet, but if you I don't mind hitting on the inside and trying to roll all the way over, roll underneath those red and the yellow staggered rocks over there.
Absolutely. That's a good call.
I think it's what they're trying to do.
Yep. So right now, Bowdoin with hammer, sitting comfortably 3. And now this one seems to be hanging out a little wide. Man, it's been tough to throw takeouts on this line here. They are going to get 1. Is it going to get out of play? It looks like it will. Yes. They will get 1 out of play. So Bowdoin's still sitting 2. And now they're going to try to draw behind that red stone that's top 12. Comment in the chat, rough start to the end, but good news for Omaha, not a lot of guards. And that is true. That is true. When you're playing the little defense, you don't want there to be a lot of guards. It's going to make it hard to climb back in it. And especially when a stone like this from Bowdoin ends up being short and ends up being a center guard. Hasn't really hurt you. Bowdoin's not sitting 3 anymore. They're only sitting 2. And you have a real nice opportunity to hit and roll here and change this end completely around.
Yep. Yeah, Omaha definitely got a little bit of a break there. They can hit this rock and try to hide.
Absolutely. And just as an update over on sheet 4, Minnesota scored 3 with the hammer. So they go up 4-1 over Colorado State.
Got the hit.
They did get the hit.
Shooter rolled out, unfortunately.
Yeah, didn't curl as much as they wanted to, but does get a stone out of play. Play right. So we got the outturn draw here, coming from Marin Cooper. Outturn here for right-handed people, meaning the counterclockwise turn. So right to left on your screen as it's coming towards the house, as you see. Weight looks pretty good. It just kind of hung out a little bit, but the weight was basically perfect. I mean, that's basically a button draw.
Looks like they're going to chase it. He's calling for hack weight. I don't mind also just drawing right down on top of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind drawing with the miss. I say miss, but we'll call it the pro side miss, being a little heavy.
Yep.
For sure. And when I say pro side miss, what do I mean by that?
I just, if you're going to miss the shot, maybe you try to miss it, maybe you want to be a little heavier just so you can, bump that red back a little bit. If you're light and you guard that side, it doesn't really help you out too much because red's still sitting 1 and 2.
Absolutely. And it's also a good thing for the sweepers to know, too. It's like, hey, I think this stone might be a little light. Well, if the pro side miss is heavy, then feel free to get on that stone because you can miss a little heavy. You can't really miss light. So this stone, actually, the weight ended up being pretty good. It just hung out. We've seen that line hang out for a really long time. So that stone from Isaiah Jacobson hung out just a little bit. It does stick around, though, in the back 8 foot, and it's pretty much buried, or at least mostly buried, to the point where Bowdoin's not going to want to go for it. So it does effectively take out that stone that's in the top 12 there.
Yep. Yeah, that stone in the top 12 it's going to be real hard for that stone to count at the end of this end.
Yeah, the only thing really is if Bowdoin ends up touching that red rock or anything like that, that moves it so that they can later go after that yellow if they wanted to. So it's not all lost. That's an effective draw from Isaiah Jacobson. That kind of gets to what we were talking about what the called shot would have been. A draw with it being a little heavy. It just hung out a little wide.
Yeah.
Another good-looking draw here from Marin. Again, hanging wide, really long. Just don't want to set up a double, which that might. That one,
probably see enough of it. You think?
I think so. Yeah, looking at it down there, I think that one could definitely be doubleable. Yeah. So.
Bowdoin's sitting 1 and 2, but Omaha's got a real good chance to double these two out.
Two, and they might even, if they get a little roll.
A little bit on the inside.
Yeah, this could be an excellent shot for Nebraska here if they make this, and it'll completely flip the end around.
Bowdoin to get more than one.
That's exactly right. This is a end-changing shot here, potentially. And the skip stone from Sawyer Hager's on the way, and it's hanging out a little wide. Oh, nope. This is good when they have the sweepers switching spots. Is it going to hold? It is, but it didn't actually get the double the way that perhaps we thought it could have. It does effectively make that scoring area very, very tight, which is a good thing. But Bowdoin is still sitting shot rock. Did not quite get the double there.
You know, for Bowdoin now, can you ever get on the inside of that yellow and double the yellows out? And now you got your top. You know, now you got your top red in the 12-foot.
Exactly. You could flip, but if you miss this a little wide, it runs back in your own red, and you're in danger. So this is a very
precise shot here.
Exactly, precise shot where a lot can change, both good and bad. Stone on the way. Ooh.
It does jam on the red.
And it did jam. That was the unfortunate miss, a little wide. Stone just didn't curl back. Now Bowdoin does still have the hammer, so it's not, it's not all for naught, and it's not like the stone is. It's not like the stone is in front of the tee here. It is in the back. So Nebraska Omaha does have some options here.
Looks like Sawyer's going to try another draw again.
Yeah, comment here is, man, that is a really straight line for 90% of rocks. Yeah, I've seen it too, especially the second game I called today on this feature sheet 3. That line pole side, particularly coming home, so on the even ends coming towards the warm room, we've seen that run really straight, and especially with big takeout weight. But even on the draws, they're not seeming to come back that much. So teams just got to kind of adapt to that. Comment here, classic curling shot where the best shot is right beside the worst shot. It's exactly it. Exactly.
Every time.
That's right. All right, so this shot goes a little deep. Really what that effectively does is just make it more of a pressure shot here for Bowdoin, for Miles Benson. It doesn't really effectively make it a harder shot, just makes it a higher pressure shot.
He's looking at 3 now instead of 2.
That's exactly right.
He's got a wide open draw he can hit, whichever one he wants to throw.
Whatever he wants to do. They're giving
room for a hit.
They're giving room for a hit. Just got to be careful that this doesn't hang wide. He did just throw a hit on his last shot, which was pretty close, just hung a little bit wide. The triple is there. I mean, it is possible, and if you get that triple, you could get 2. That is a tough triple, I would say.
I was wondering if that triple.
I don't know if that's there. Ooh, and this is over curling. Oh boy.
Just took off.
Oh boy.
That's unfortunate.
Oh boy. Sweep as many stones out of play as you can if you're Bowdoin. Oh boy, is that a steal? Is that a steal of 3? Yeah, I think that's a steal of 3.
3 that end.
I have been informed that the triple is always there.
Can confirm. I remember Brian Stewart that did.
Unfortunate for Bowdoin there. Nebraska with a steal of 3, and they have now jumped out to a 5-point lead as we hit the halfway point in this game. Let's do some out-of-town scores here. So RPI is finally sitting, it looks like 2. And this is just clogging up more of the draw path there. So RPI, the comeback kids, working on their way to come back in this game. Over on sheet 4, we have Colorado State trailing the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And it looks like this stone here from Colorado State. It's coming in. It looks like they are sitting shot, and if they can sweep this just to get to the white, the 8-foot, and they can. Great sweep, great shot. Colorado State is sitting 2 right now, so Colorado State has some options to try to get back in this game. And over on sheet 1, they are at the halfway point. where it looks like RIT still has that big lead on Minnesota Duluth. It doesn't look like they hung the fourth end. Oh, looks like they're hanging it now if we want to stick around for just a second longer. Another steal. Wow, 8-0 after
RIT.
4 ends.
Great start from them.
All right, so let's see the end of this end here with RPI. RPI versus University of Pennsylvania. RPI won their opening game in a comeback, whereas University of Pennsylvania did fall in a heartbreaker this morning to Colorado State, where RPI beat University of Minnesota. However, those results are flip-flop now, where the teams that lost this morning's games are now winning against the teams that won this morning's game. So this pool could be wide open here in Pool C at USA College Nationals 2026. Looks like we're up to 46 people on the stream now. Want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying your time here, enjoying the game we got going on. Well, maybe if you're rooting for Bowdoin, maybe you're a little worried, but definitely they've had chances to set up ends, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get back in this game.
Even that last end, Bowdoin gave up a steal of 3, but at one point they were sitting 2. They had a chance, to sit 3. So maybe Bowdoin, you just got to think, hey, we can make good shots.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this has been a game where points have come not at a what's the expression I'm looking for? Now I'm on the air and I'm forgetting what the expression is. A premium. Points aren't coming at a premium here. Very cheap points. It seems like the fact that the score after just 4 ends is what 9-4 indicates that there's gonna be opportunities for more points. I can assure you that. But if anyone in the chat has any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, let us know and we'll be happy to address them. RPI now sitting 1-2-3 in this end. Definitely a 3-ender would get you back in this game here if you're RPI taking on University of Pennsylvania.
Looks like Pennsylvania's going to try to come down and chase that red.
And this is their last rock, correct? And RPI's hammer afterwards?
Yep.
Okay.
Rocks away from the UPenn skip.
Sweepers are on it. It looks like the line's fine. It actually looks really good, this line. This looks like a pretty good shot. This is at least going to get that second count. Is it going to get it out of play? It is going to get it out of play. That's a really nice looking shot there to sit second count, holding RPI for the moment to just 1. And the shot basically is follow it back down, do the exact same thing that they just did. Try to get around that high corner guard, poke out that yellow and keep the shooter around. Pretty perfect shot there from Penn.
That's a shot too. You're very much playing the scoreboard there. You don't mind, you don't mind if your rock's exposed. You're okay giving up 3 because you're up 5-0. But getting that rock out of there, make sure they don't get 4. That's priority number 1.
Absolutely. So I called Penn this morning. So if that's the same skip as before, that was Jack Gearin who threw that rock. So that was an excellent rock. And here's the stone. Is this? Oh, this looks good too.
Great brush there from RPI.
Now can they get this out of play? Because it's got to basically get out of the rings for them to sit 1, 2, 3, and they get it. That is an excellent counter. And RPI gets right back in it with a 3 to get to halftime. And the comeback kids are back at it. Sheet 3 about to start off. Oh, they are underway with Liliana Delgado's first stone. And it is a tight guard to the house. If you're University of Nebraska Omaha, with the lead that you have right now, 9-4, do you start to change up your strategy now, or do you think just stick with what you've been doing?
That's a good question. What a lot of people would say, if it's working, don't change it. But I don't mind. When you're up this much, I want to, my lead, I want every rock to be in the house. Make sure that you have something counting, because if they hit, you're fine with just hitting rocks back. You're up by this much. So I don't mind going to the house, but some people would say it's working, just keep on doing it, and that's fine too. I don't think there's any wrong answer there.
Absolutely. So we'll see what they end up doing as this game continues on. Question in the chat: anyone know where the back end of University of Nebraska Omaha are originally from? Let's see if they filled that out in the questionnaire. But if anyone in the chat knows, feel free to give that information. Let's see. I see here. It looks like Isaiah Jacobson is from Hickman, Nebraska. It looks like Peyton Johnson, I know he's not back end, is from Omaha, Nebraska. Sawyer Hager is from West Fargo, North Dakota. So those appear to be where they are from originally, if that answers Ryan McCallum's question in the chat. And over on sheet 4, I know you guys don't see it, but Colorado State did get their deuce, so it is now a 4-3 game. They are trailing still, and Minnesota will have the hammer in the 5th end after they end their break. That's a really nice takeout. Got a little bit of a roll out wide, but at this point, especially when you're up 5, as long as you're not flashing hits, you're probably doing doing good for your team's cause. So good shot there from Peyton Johnson, the 2nd of Nebraska Omaha. So we have Jack Lerman sliding out. Both seconds are lefties on this team, it looks like. Oh, and that just perfectly splits in between the 2 yellows. Hitting either stone would have been a productive shot probably, but a bit unfortunate there. I am curious though. I actually was curious as to why they were calling a hit there. Maybe they like the hit and the idea of rolling behind the guard there.
That's possible. I don't, I think I know where you're going with that. It's, not a bad idea to draw behind, your corner red that you got. You need to score a lot. You're okay with more rocks being in play,
Exactly. If you're Bowdoin, absolutely.
Yep.
Although Nebraska here is definitely throwing you a little bit of a bone here and put a rock in play for you. Now I do kind of like that hit.
Oh. Yeah, now I don't mind the hit. Yeah. It looks like they're going to draw this time, which I think is fine too.
Yeah, that's fine as well. I mean, that red rock Nebraska's going to have to deal with anyways, so maybe you can build your end on the side and save that hit for later. This might be your best chance to get an end of 3 or more if you're Bowdoin.
Looks like it might be a little big. They're holding the line and try to chip off of the front red.
That looks like exactly what they're doing because they think it's big. Can they chip it? Can they chip it? Can they chip it? Oh.
Almost.
I mean, that's unfortunate because it actually did come down at the end, and you could argue if they didn't sweep, maybe it would have stuck around. I hate that as a sweeper. It's the most unfortunate situation when you judge it. You think it's going to be heavy. You know for a fact that it's heavy, so it's going towards another stone. So you try to sweep it hard to chip, and if you miss that chip and then it just barely gets through the house, you're like, oh, well, why did I sweep in the first place?
Yeah.
It's that frustrating in between that curling does to you. It makes you second guess a lot of things. Interesting thing about Peyton Johnson, who's on the sweep here for Nebraska Omaha, is his dream job after graduation is being a park ranger, possibly for a national park there. So I think that's pretty cool, something that he put in his questionnaire ahead of time. I'll be heading to Utah next week, visiting some of the Big 5 national parks out there in Utah. So definitely have a lot of respect for those national park rangers. Sawyer Hager aspires to be a physical therapist after graduating. Isaiah Jacobson just said, building cool things with cool people. See, I like that answer a lot. Those who might know Isaiah Jacobson might think that's a classic answer from him. I don't know. Bowdoin rock on the way. It looks like it's going to crash on that one of the high yellows, but it will still stick around in the house. If you're in Nebraska, I think it's just rinse and repeat. Looks like what they're calling right now with Sawyer, or what Sawyer's calling, is just hit that stone, stick around, just keep ratcheting up the pressure on Bowdoin here. Stone away from Isaiah Jacobson. Liliana's on the sweep here. And that's a good looking shot there. Takes the stone out of play. Sticks around as a top. I mean, it doesn't look like it's in the house, but definitely a tight guard there. So Nebraska has all the options in the world to tap up their stones.
Yeah, Nebraska is up this end real nicely.
Absolutely.
It's going to be real hard for Bowdoin to get more than one here.
Yep, it looks like they're going for that hit and roll we talked about earlier. If they can effectively do that and bury nicely behind the traffic that Nebraska's created for them, that might be their best chance to get two. Plenty of time still left in this game for Bowdoin, so even getting two here would be a particularly good result here. No need to have to panic, try to get a 3, 4, or 5 ender. That's a trap I sometimes fall into as a skip, seeing my team's down 5, forgetting how much time there is left to claw back in it, thinking I need to craft a monster end. And it looks like they changed the shot call instead of the hit and roll for Marin Cooper, and it looks like instead they're going to try some draw. Looks like it's going to be narrow. So it's just going to tap Nebraska right up to the 4-foot. Definitely not ideal result there. What do you like doing here if you're in Nebraska? You're up by 5, you're sitting 3, one of them is in the 4-foot.
Just plugging up the center.
Yeah.
Put more junk up front.
Exactly. Do no harm, right?
Yeah, do no harm there. Bowdoin, I think Bowdoin's best shot right now is tapping that red up, and if you guard, that red rock, it makes it real hard for them to tap that up into the 4-foot.
Absolutely. This morning, I saw Colorado State ended up winning in 9 ends, but their skip, Brandon Polo, called a shot that basically he was in the driver's seat, I thought, at the end. They were already sitting 1. He had a shot for 4. And if I remember correctly, he went for the shot, and it was one of those where it was like, well, you are doing harm if you attempt this shot. And sure enough, actually took his own stone out of play and gave up a steal to the other team. And if you're Nebraska in this situation, you really just don't want to do anything that's going to wreak havoc. Taking that stones out of play, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have,
You're very much playing the scoreboard there. You're up a bunch. Just hit as many red rocks as you can see.
Yep, absolutely. So now are they going for that hit and roll? It looks like it.
We're gonna be able to double those out.
You definitely could. If you hit it thin enough there, you definitely could double that out and get behind cover. It's there. So let's see here what Miles Benson can throw for Bowdoin. This is the line that hangs straight, so Bowdoin really wants this to get to the inside.
It's pretty close.
It's close. They still are trying to push it. Oh, yes. What a
Yeah, that's a
shot.
great shot.
What a shot.
Really good double. You're sitting under cover. You're
Under cover, staggered
touching the
cover.
forefoot.
Absolutely. That has flipped this game to where you could argue it might have been handshakes after this end to Bowdoin's right back in it. So that is a big shot right there. Miles Benson, well done. On a tricky line, too, that's been running straight for a while. I keep seeing the uno, uno, uno. I hope I don't keep saying that it's Nebraska when I mean Nebraska Omaha. So I will continue to call it Omaha if that's the implication here. But yes. Take full advantage of those endlessly staggered guards. Absolutely. So now this end has definitely swung a little bit. Looks like Nebraska's trying to draw a stone of their own into that forefoot behind those guards. If they do, then it's going to be really tough for Bowdoin to get it out.
Sreebzana trying to hold the line.
Yeah, the line looks good. Is the weight there? Is that enough weight? Oh my, not enough weight. Oh, that's disappointing.
Gotcha. Thanks. That's a good draw there from, that's a really good draw
That's
there.
an excellent draw there. Absolutely. But it does at least make it really hard for Bowdoin to get there too. But if that goes an extra 4 or 5 inches, I mean, it's in steal position. Bowdoin's got to make a perfect draw for 1. That was almost the perfect shot from Sawyer Hager right there. So let's see what Miles Benson can do after he just threw a big weight takeout. Now he's got to try to throw a perfect draw. Agreed. There isn't a lot of room for that second point. So that it is still a really good shot. Don't get me wrong. An extra 3 inches probably would have been nice. And this stone looks like it's just going to go a little too deep. So Bowdoin does get their 1. They claw back into this, so it is now a 9-5 game after 5 ends. Okay. So
switch to some of the other sheets.
Absolutely. Sheet 2, where RPI is trying to mount a comeback here. RPI is sitting 1. Looks like there's plenty of rocks left, though, so nothing guaranteed there. Here it looks like Minnesota Twin Cities is sitting 2. Sitting 2 with the hammer, so that's a good position to be in for Minnesota. And over on sheet 1,
looks like RIT scored again, so increased that 8-0 lead to whatever they scored in the last end.
Absolutely, and that gets into the thing I was talking about with Matt Green last main draw, is sometimes when you don't have that hammer, you can get into a real groove where you just start stealing and stealing and stealing, and it just, it's tough to get out of it if you're the hammer team, and the other team just, they've found their draw weight, they found their guard weight, they're
some
the Gert
people
messing
love,
approach to curling, exactly. As
it's
one of our good friends here at the curling club.
Throw it right to the middle. You're okay taking 1 each end and making it real hard for the other team.
Exactly.
And for newer curlers, a lot of times, people say it's easier to play without the hammer because the strategy is so much easier. You throw rocks to the middle, you tighten up the scoring area. All of a sudden, you got a couple rocks in the forefoot. Maybe there's some guards out front. Sometimes it gets real hard if you keep on having the hammer. Sometimes it gets real hard to score.
Absolutely. So it looks like, based on what I'm seeing here from this early call, Nebraska is perfectly content to start taking out stones when they're not guards, and that's exactly what happened.
That's a good hit from the lead there. Sometimes, you're throwing lead rocks, you're throwing a lot of guards, all of a sudden you're asked to make a hit. And to step up and make that hit, it's real good from the lead.
No, Bowdoin here is choosing to hit and try to roll Definitely, if it's a well-made shot, can work out nicely. I do wonder if Skip Marin Cooper's considering throwing the guard instead, just because you are down 4. You probably need to steal this end. You know, ignore that yellow rock and just throw a guard so that Nebraska isn't happy to just trade hits with you. You know, different skips have different philosophies on what they want to do there. And Nebraska's perfectly happy to split the house here, put a stone way over on that right side if you're looking down the sheet. And this is the straight line, so it looks like it won't curl. Sweepers are working hard to try to get this to the house, and they will. They will get this to the house.
That's a great pair from the lead there.
That really
makes
is.
Makes a good hit and then makes a nice draw right above the tee line.
Nicely done for Liliana Delgado there, absolutely. So again, Marin Cooper calling for the hit and roll towards that other one. I still like the idea of trying to craft your own offense. You got to be a little bit of aggressive here. Maybe try to draw, try to freeze on top of it. But if you hit and you can roll over to that other yellow and sit on top of it, which I think maybe is the call that Marin's going for here, that would be a really, really excellent shot. Hits the one, bumps the other. The angle was called perfectly. That's a really good line call. Really good line call from Marin there. But as predicted, Nebraska is content to just keep trading hits, so they will just hit that out of play. No bother for them. This is the straight line, so you got to be careful here if you're Peyton Johnson. Line seems to be pretty good. Skip Sawyer Hager seems to be happy with it. Oh, not only is it good, but it's going to get a really nice roll out of this. Look at this.
Yeah, rolls to the other side. You know, that's a great shot.
House is once again split.
To roll that much and to miss the yellow right there, that's pretty good. She's calling for the hit again. To your point, you said earlier, Brad, I think, you know, if you draw right down to this and freeze on it, I like trying to do that here.
Right. And you wouldn't call that in most situations, but when you're down 4 with, you know, 2 ends to play or 3 ends to play and you don't have hammer, you might need to start thinking about that.
Yep.
But, you know, as mentioned before, and admittedly, we talked about it, there's been a lot of scoring in this game. Maybe Bowdoin feels good that they can craft an end with hammer, so maybe they are trying to play for a force at some point, see if Nebraska gives them something, makes a mistake. You know, at the very least, you're not hurting your position anymore. You're just not necessarily playing aggressive to help your position. So we'll see what happens as this end shapes out. And once again, I will repeat, if anyone here on the live chat, we have 44 people watching right now, if anyone has any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, heckles for me and Pat, feel free to
let us know.
Reach out. Yeah, exactly. Feel free to reach out in the chat with anything that you may have for us. And the coverage of this feature sheet will change if we do see handshakes on sheet 3 at any point. So just letting people know that we will keep the feature sheet running until all 4 games from this draw have concluded. All right, we're on Vice Rocks now for Marin Cooper. It looks like calling high draw, tight guard. See what Nebraska wants to do with it if they do leave it as a high guard. Line looks pretty good. Weight looks pretty good, I think. They're trying to push it just a little bit. Now they're trying to just drag it out. So it does end up being a guard. You like that call there, Pat?
Yeah, I like. Well, you can either throw the guard or you can draw down to the yellow, and I think both options are fine. You need to steal, so I don't mind, throwing. You want to steal, I don't mind throwing the guard there.
Absolutely. What's interesting here
And
is
if you're UNO, for you, would you ever like just peeling the guard, kind of try to keep it open? I mean, you're up by a bunch. You already have one in the house.
100% Pat. If I were Sawyer Hager here, I think I might consider peeling that guard, but maybe, again, to what we talked about earlier, playing to the team's strengths. Maybe he feels good about Isaiah Jacobson throwing a nice draw behind cover here. I mean, his team has thrown some excellent draws this game. So maybe he likes the idea of sitting 2 here and pretty much ending the game here in 6 as opposed to, taking just his simple 1 and playing the long game. Maybe he feels good about, splitting the house again. But certainly by leaving that guard there, it does give Bowdoin a chance to craft some offense of their own if they can make a nice
Bowdoin
shot
can
here.
Kind of try to hide behind that guard that's now still there.
Yep. And another thing to consider is that guard might be high enough that maybe Sawyer Hager thinks, I can get to it anyways, so I'm not too worried about that one high guard yet. Maybe if it was a tighter guard, maybe he'd consider peeling it.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have the second shot from Marin Cooper coming up here.
It's a big shot from Bowdoin. You really want to have something at least half buried under your guard. Give it, make it real tough for UNO to chip that rock out and to be shot.
Absolutely.
Looks a little big. You do have the yellow backing though.
Yeah, you could freeze the yellow, and that's not a bad shot. But it looks like it might be even too heavy for a freeze. Okay. That's not by any means a bad result. I mean, it's perfectly behind that red. It's definitely shot rock. It is, I wouldn't say it's a high quality scoring rock behind the tee, but it's definitely, you're starting to not only shrink the scoring area, but now you've given yourself a chance to actually get into the steal position if you're Bowdoin. So really job well done to turn this end around.
It's a good shot. I mean, even though you're behind the tee line, the biggest thing for them was trying to be, at least half under that guard, and they certainly did that. So UNO can't hit it out. It looks like they'll try to draw down to it.
Absolutely. Could also consider peeling the guard again if you're UNO.
Yeah, you could. I don't mind peeling that guard at this point now.
Yep. Looks like they're going to draw down. I mean, Nebraska's had some great draw weight all game. And maybe this is their game. This is their game. They like drawing at this point. See if they can freeze down too. Okay.
Yeah, they've made some really good draws this game.
They really have. So they trust their draw weight. And Bowdoin's going to try to draw right on top of it. Why are they trying to draw instead of bump it, Pat?
Well, the rock is just barely behind the tee line. So you could, if you freeze right down to it, you're kind of right full on the button. It's going to be real hard for UNO to get your red rock out of there and score.
Absolutely. Definitely a good chance to get a steal if you can execute this perfectly. Weight looks pretty close.
Weight looks close, yeah. I'm trying to curl it.
It's a little heavy.
Mine looks really close too.
Yeah, it's a little heavy, but
bump it a little
heavy's
bit.
okay. A little bump's okay. Yeah. Really nicely done there. We had some nice shot making. So again, you've seen how this complexion of this end has changed, all because of that decision to not peel the guard earlier from Sawyer Hager. It's ultimately started to tighten up the scoring area, which is, Nebraska could still absolutely score multiple points this end, and they have the hammer advantage, so by all means, the way they're throwing, they could. But it does show that this has kind of changed the complexion from an end that was really not favorable early on for Bowdoin to Bowdoin actually has a chance now to get back into this end and actually maybe get their steal if they get lucky.
Yeah, for Sawyer here, he's got to make a good hit. If he hits this on the outside of that red rock, that red probably jams on those yellows in the back. So he's got to make a good shot here.
Try to get across nose on that red stone.
Sweeps on it for line pretty quick. Needs to get around that guard.
It's not going to get around the guard, but I don't honestly hate the peel there. It forces Bowdoin to have to do something.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about before. If you're a skipper there, and you see that guard get placed early on, or halfway through the end, maybe you want to peel it right away so you don't run into it, towards the end. Now Bowdoin can throw another guard up, make it tough for them, try to steal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now Bowdoin's really got a chance to kind of ratchet things up and maybe get their steal they're looking for here in the 6th. And, anything can happen if you get within 3 points with 2 ends to play. So definitely has turned this end around. It is interesting how this end is shaped out, because early on in the end, I was confused a little bit with, Marin Cooper was calling some hits, and I thought that, maybe you'd want to throw guards if you want to try to shape the end the way you want it to here. And then ultimately did switch over to throwing that guard that I think she herself called and threw. And once Sawyer Hager ignored it, it completely flipped, where then suddenly Bowdoin was playing that aggressive style of game to try to get it back into a tight scoring area, and Nebraska was content to let them do that. So very fascinating just how even within an end, the strategy and the skip decision-making can change. So here that shot from Marin Cooper appears to have... that wasn't from Marin Cooper. That draw was from their 4th, which is Miles Benson. Gone basically right on the button. So they are sitting 2. It is wide open for a hit here, but it's a pressure shot up against 2. And if you don't hit right in that middle, if you don't hit right in that, we'll call it the crotch, because I can't think of a better term, it might be a steal of 1 here. We'll see. But it doesn't matter when you hit it like that.
That's big weight.
That's big weight. Got them both out. So it's a 1-point end for Nebraska, and honestly, that is really, if you're Nebraska, that is a win, because that's a great shot from Sawyer, and there's no problem with taking your 1. Really, what you didn't want to do is let Bowdoin get back into it with steals. Just hold serve, take your 1 if you need to.
We'll go around to the other sheets. Looking at sheet 1, looks like it's the last shot at the end.
Could possibly be the last shot of the game as well.
Looks like Red's finally got a good chance to get on the scoreboard.
Draws underway here. Sweepers are sweeping it pretty hard. They think it's light. It does look a little light from here in the warm room. Sweepers are going all the way. They're going hard. They're going hard. And it is light, and it's another steal of 1, and that is handshakes over on sheet 1. So, all right, we can stop that stream over there on sheet 1. Actually, no, not here. Not that one.
Yeah.
But we'll do that in a second. Take a look over at sheet 2. So, looks like after RPI got back within 2, it does look like UPenn was able to get their 1, and now they're sitting, I think, 1. It's hard to tell, actually. Maybe Red's 1.
It's close.
Regardless, it's going to be 1 for either team here with all that traffic up front. So it's still going to be UPenn in the lead after 6 there, most likely. Sheet 4, it looks like... Interesting. It looks like Colorado State has been able to claw back. That end earlier was looking very ominous for them against Minnesota, but looks like they were able to somehow get a steal in that 5th end, and now are right back in it at a tie game in the 4th end. Some really good games here. Yeah, and the chat, tough to leave the double, we needed a guard. That's definitely true. It's on that last shot of the 6th end, it really would have been nice to leave a guard there. But at the same time, if you leave that stone in a good enough spot, it may end up having the effectiveness of a guard, in that it might be a really tough double and you still can get your 1, and if there's a complete flash, you steal 2.
it curled just a little less, Bowdoin's last shot there, it kind of froze right on top of it. That would have been
right. Exactly.
tough to get rid of both of them
Ideally, you basically have a counting guard, as we like to call them, a second count, because again,
sometimes the best guard is the second counter, right? That's what they say.
Exactly, and especially when you're down 5, like Bowdoin was, or 4, I guess. If you're down 4. It might be nice to get your second point there, but I hear what you're saying in the comments for sure, to leave that double. It definitely was suboptimal. And credit to Sawyer, he made an excellent shot in that end. So right now, Bowdoin trying to play aggressive, was trying to put a second. Guard's okay there, corner guard's okay, but Nebraska seems to have 2 stones, 2 shots, 2 counters on the center line, so definitely nice job by their lead, Liliana Delgado, to set them up well.
UNO here, do you ever just hit the red that's touching the house? Play the scoreboard, you're up 5?
I think I might.
Yeah,
I think I might. I'm up 5. I don't think I mind hitting that red, especially because like the first 2 stones, it's a good setup here. Might as well, waste a shot, hit that red out of play. As long as you trust, hitting it. But again, Nebraska's shown time and time again they do like
their draws.
They like their draws, and they're making their draws more often than not.
Yep.
So Bowdoin's going to actually peel these guards here, which if you're Nebraska, I don't think you mind that too much. It's making them waste a shot where they're not putting more stones in the house with Hammer here. This may be Bowdoin's last chance with Hammer. If it's not their last chance with Hammer, then they're going to be down at least 5, I would think, even if they blank this end. So realistically, this is Bowdoin's last chance with Hammer to get back in this game. You want to try to get enough points where you feel confident that you have a chance to steal in the final end. So it does get 1 rock out of play, but not both. I think it's biting. It is biting. So biters are nice if you're red here. If you can ever keep that scoring area open, that can be really nice. So we have right now Peyton Johnson for Nebraska. Is the call right now a guard, or are they just taking it out? This looks light enough that I don't know if it's a takeout, but I could be wrong. Maybe they are taking it out. Maybe. Yeah, I lied. It looks like they're trying just a down weight hit, or maybe they're trying to draw. I don't know. I was confused a little by the shot call there. I would have just liked to have blasted those out, but that actually ends up spinning Bowdoin in for shot rock. So Bowdoin can start to craft something here.
What do you do? I mean, what are you calling if you're Bowdoin here?
Well, it looks like they're trying to hit this yellow and baby roll to the right.
Yeah,
like so you're a biter.
To the right.
Yeah.
You might still be biting. You might even be able to shift it back yellow too.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like this call actually because
there's 2.
If you want that biter, that red biter that you have there to actually be a counter. Ideally, you really want to score. I would think at minimum you got to score 3 this end if you're Bowdoin.
Trying to push the rock over.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to take out your own shot rock, which this might do, and it does. That's unfortunate. Back-to-back shots that have unfortunately made the shot for the other team. And
that rock curls just a little bit more, and that shot's real good.
Yep.
You roll under, and you might even get the back yellow to
Absolutely.
go out too.
And they have to be aggressive here. I'm sure, given a different game script, game situation, Bowdoin probably doesn't try that shot. Okay. They were trying to raise. Sorry, I missed the shot call there. So they were trying to raise their center yellow. So that's why they were having Liliana try to push. I think it was Liliana on the outside of the rock trying to push, and it just hung wide enough that it ended up promoting Bowdoin in. But Bowdoin returned the favor, unfortunately for them. So pretty much back to square one. Maybe arguably a better position for Nebraska now. And shot coming in. This is, I believe, from Isaiah Jacobson. And it looks like that is a guard. It does freeze right on top of that red, and I think Marin Cooper sees the same thing you and I see. That looks like it's a loaded gun, where that if you hit any piece of that yellow, that red runs straight back into that yellow, and depending on the angles, it may get a double on those yellows. So a lot of times hits, especially runbacks, are a lot nicer when you have stones loaded up like the barrel of a gun like that. Helps you kind of just, you can just hit the stone pretty much anywhere as long as you hit a significant piece of it.
Yeah, probably just a little low side nose, and you might be able to get the angles right to get both those yellows to go.
Absolutely.
Let's see, rocks away.
Yeah. Oh boy. Unfortunately, it looks like it got dumped out of hand. And this could angle chip their yellow.
That's one way to get shot out of it.
That was the called shot, right? Right? We all know that was the called shot. Yeah. Yeah, the comment was going to be a good test of the drag effect with these stones. Well, in theory, in theory it would have been, yes. Well, that plan F ends up working out for Bowdoin. It's not really necessarily that bad for Nebraska here.
I think they can play just the same shot.
Yeah, they're going to play the shot themselves now. See what happens, but ultimately, the scoring area is pretty tight. Bowdoin gets one here. I still think it's pretty close to game over for them. So Bowdoin really needs to open up that scoring area and try to get 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Omaha, you're okay with them taking 1, 2, maybe even 3.
I might even consider just throwing a guard here and forcing Bowdoin to just do something. Bang, bang, bang. But there you get to see the fun run. Exactly. There's your drag effect with the other team calling it this time. But I would argue that actually is a great result for Bowdoin. That is unbelievably a good result for Bowdoin, because now it has opened up that scoring area, and Bowdoin is sitting 2 and 3 with an open hit to get shot rock as well.
I think they wanted to hit that rock just a little closer to nose.
Absolutely.
Run it straight back. You kind of jam. You don't really change it too much. Maybe the red gets out of the button, and you're sitting shot again.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, that's definitely a situation where, someone might be thinking, I want to sit shot rock. But if you look at the game situation here, there was really no way Bowdoin was going to get multiple points. I mean, not that I could see easily with that setup. And down 5, they need multiple points. So if I'm University of Nebraska Omaha there, I might consider. And this is a great shot, just an excellent shot. It is going to hang out there, but that's fine. You're sitting 3 right now. Ideally, you would have gotten a little bit of a roll there just so that it goes under some kind of cover, but no issues there. Just had to get that center play. But as I was saying, it's totally fine if you just threw a guard there if you were Nebraska. Threw something up high. You didn't even need to play that run. But
junk it up again. Like we said, you're okay giving up 1. You're probably okay. You're definitely okay giving up 2, probably even 3.
Exactly. Yeah, 3's where you maybe I don't want to do that. But there was never a situation where I could see that they were going to get 3 in that end. So, let alone 2. So by running it back, that actually worked out really favorably for Bowdoin, even though the shot was quote unquote made by University of Nebraska Omaha there. And so they have the shot right back here.
This rock's curling pretty hard, huh?
It is curling pretty hard.
Sweeper's on it.
Are they going to be able to hold it? Oh, what a strong sweep there.
Yeah, that's a really good sweep.
I would say that's a national silver medalist sweep. However, it does jam on that back red, and it rolls out enough where Bowdoin is still sitting 1 and 2. And so it's not exactly a bad result for Bowdoin. And so the game continues with Bowdoin still having a chance.
First skip rock for Bowdoin, you can draw 1 under.
Absolutely. Just got to be careful. You got to get around that yellow guard there. That yellow guard that is close to the center line there. But if you get around that, University of Nebraska Omaha is in some trouble here. How are we feeling in the chat here? Fans of both teams here. Oof, this is close. This might be a little narrow. I don't know.
Oh, it looks like it.
Oh, wait. Oh, it's heavy, actually. So it wasn't. They had to sweep it to try to get it around that rock. The sweep was great, but obviously didn't do it any favors in terms of the weight. So not a great result for Bowdoin, but it doesn't do you any harm at the very least.
Yep. And it looks like Omaha is going to have gonna have a crack at that guard, that draw again.
No, it looks like instead they're actually going to try to go down to that back red. Down to slash bump,
looks like they're trying
maybe?
to go the other way.
Yeah. Try to just throw, back 8, back 12 weight. Get through that port, go back down on that red. If you sit on it, phenomenal. If you bump it, great. No issues there. The response here is this is a good end for seeing an 8th end. I agree. I agree that this has given up giving us some intrigue here. Yeah, just got to not give up 3 here. That's exactly what we've been saying here. If you give up 2 here, I still think you're in the driver's seat if you're University of Nebraska Omaha. But it has at least opened the door for Bowdoin to get their 3 here. And if that draw from Miles Benson had been just a little lighter and a little wider, they could be sitting 3 right now, and it could be for 4. Ooh, okay. So that's not going to outcount either of the 2. So Bowdoin's still going to get 2 stones. It's going to get 2 here. And what do you think the easiest shot is for 3 is, Pat?
I think if I'm Bowdoin here, I like just hitting the yellow off to the side there. You nose that yellow that's on the 12 foot, and you're gonna get 3 out of it.
I agree with you. Or even throw the draw that side. I actually think coming this way might be tricky.
Yeah, I mean you haven't thrown this far outside here, so you're maybe ice is a little slower. You're not too sure how fast it's gonna be, but this is a shot he likes.
Yeah, any shot's the right shot if it's a made shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like coming the other way with the in turn as opposed to coming out this far wide. But we'll see if it happens. Sweepers are on it right now, so they think it's a little light. Not surprising with how frosty it can be out wide here.
And just a little
it's just
light.
light.
That's tough. You haven't thrown that way yet. You haven't been that far outside. Ice probably a little frosty.
Absolutely.
Bowdoin takes 2. They're down 3 going into the last end.
That's right. And Pat, we have a question in the chat. How are both teams' thinking time clocks looking? Do you have the ability to see what's over there with Julie? It looks like she's doing the timer. We're in the timeout, so it's hard to check. Okay, all right. After this timeout, we will check how much thinking time there is. We will get to your question.
Take a look at some of the other sheets still going
Absolutely.
on. Looks like RPIs.
They got 1 that last end, where both teams were basically biting the button.
Yeah, RPI sitting shot looks like.
Yep, they got to go steal probably to win.
Like UPenn's going to try to run that yellow back.
Yeah, even peeling it's probably a fine result for them.
Yep.
No issues there if you're UPenn. But there are issues if you flash that rock, which unfortunately is what just happened. So RPI now can start to think about getting a bigger steal. Over on sheet 4, where we have Minnesota and Colorado State, where Colorado State has now taken the lead. This game is definitely lagging a little bit, so this will probably be the game that we finish with today, after assuming that there is no extra end on our feature sheet. And we are back to the feature sheet, and we've been informed that there are about 8 minutes left for both teams for thinking time. So both teams are pretty good on time. So just to give the audience some context there, that's a great question. It looks like
plenty of time for
plenty of time, yeah. 8 minutes, you typically want 3 minutes 45 seconds about or something like that per end, so 3.5 minutes. So 8 minutes is more than double that. I believe both teams still have their timeouts too, so time should not be a factor at all. But as I see in the chat here, thinking time was relevant this morning. Yes, there was an unfortunate situation with RIT, who did have a nice win over Minnesota Duluth on sheet 1 during this draw, as we showed you guys earlier in this stream. They did end up losing, where in the final end they were down 4. Had a draw to actually get 4 with Hammer in the final end, and apparently they made the draw, but the release of the draw was after their time had expired, and by rule at USA Nationals events. If your thinking time runs out before you cross the tee line, your near side tee line when you release, you do lose the game, unfortunately. So that is a really tough way to lose. And so that's what Nick's 1225 is referring to here, is that it was very pertinent this morning.
You know, it's tough. Most of these folks curling out here, this very well might be the first time that they've ever played with thinking time. So it just adds a little bit of an extra thing to think about. You always, if you're the front end, you always want to relay to your skip, hey, we're getting real tight on time. And you can kind of relay that to them throughout the game.
Absolutely. By the way, these first 2 stones from Bowdoin could not be more, I guess could be more perfect. Maybe if they were right on the center line, but it's not like Nebraska's going for them. Could not be more optimal if you're trying to get a big steal. You got to get those double centers up.
Yeah, you got to put 2 guards in play. One's tighter to the house, one's a little further apart, kind of staggered. Good start from Bowdoin.
Yeah, really good start here. And basically, you have assured that you're going to be playing to the center here. Nebraska's probably going to start peeling some of those guards pretty soon.
Yeah, let's see what Omaha does, because they really do like to draw. They're not afraid to get a lot of rocks in play. But this end, I think you really want to, peel some of those guards out.
Yes.
Make it as easy for you as you can, coming down to your last shots.
Absolutely. And thank you again, because Pat, everybody on the chat here probably likes Pat a lot, because you've been consistently saying Omaha. I keep saying Nebraska. I have said Nebraska Omaha a few times.
I started out saying Nebraska. So
yeah. No, it is Omaha. Everybody I appreciate on the chat. I appreciate you bearing with me. But this is Omaha. And that's a good looking draw there. It is exposed. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sawyer wants to chase after really any of these rocks here.
He might elect to
peel
these
the guards,
which I don't mind that either.
I don't either, absolutely. I think that's setting you up nicer for the end of the end. If there's no guards but 3 red rocks all behind the tee, or 3 red rocks right in the center, you can easily double those later. That's a nice looking shot there.
Yeah, that's
not super big weight, but the angle was so nice that it is going to effectively peel. It does get the red out of play, and the yellow basically becomes a non-factor over there, really far over in the guard zone on the wing.
Bowdoin's going to put up another guard here.
Put up another guard, yep. But at some point, they got to get, they have to sit 3. That at minimum, the only way that they can possibly win this game is they have to at some point in this end sit 3 rocks in the house. So they can take a little time trying to throw up guards, but there's only so much time that they have before it runs out. This looks like a good guard here from Jack Lerman.
Omaha electing to throw the peel again. Might be able to get both reds to move. Might be able to get both reds to go out.
Yeah, if you throw big enough weight, you could definitely get both rocks to move here.
Be careful, that one red might jam.
I was going to say exactly.
Yep. We'll see where he hits it.
Absolutely. But again, if it's out of the center, it probably doesn't hurt you too much.
Yep.
But let's see what happens. Ooh, and a flash. That's the last thing you want if you're University of Nebraska Omaha there. You got to at least move some of those rocks out of play. So now Bowdoin got their miss that they needed. Got to draw a second one in. You assume that Nebraska Omaha is going to get one of those rocks out of play soon. But now you can take a little time to try to get another stone in play. You could also throw a high guard if you wanted to, and that way those 2 stagger guards are going to stay there for a little bit longer. But regardless, you got an extra stone. You basically got a bonus stone if you're Bowdoin here. Comment here talking about thinking time coming up in the USA-Norway round-robin game. Was this at the Olympics with Danny Casper, where he got the rock off with 0.3 seconds left? Because if so, that was That last shot that he made was also a big shot to hang on and win that game, if I'm not mistaken. I might be getting my games mixed up, but. All right, so this is going to come up short. It's going to act as another guard. As we mentioned, at some point they do got to get in there, but it's, you know, triple guard here. Oh, the Paralympics. Got it, got it. Got it. So that just happened then. Huh? Got it, got it. Oh, that's right. The original comment looks, for some reason, it's got taken down. There was an original comment that was mentioning the Paralympics. So sorry, I missed the context there. So with 3 staggered center guards here, Pat, obviously if you're Nebraska, you want to blow stuff up. How do you want to blow stuff up here? What's where do you want to hit this?
I think, yeah, I like hitting the one off to the left here. You know, if you hit it almost right where his broom is, or you know, a little close to nose on that rock that his broom's sitting next to, I think that's really good because you probably double out those 2 reds. The other one still stays there, but.
Oh, this is a massive stone. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness, that
shot.
is Isaiah Jacobson with the sleeveless shirt there, showing off the muscles there. With that is a monster takeout, and you'll see that sometimes at college nationals. Like some of these individuals can throw big weight, and that was a monster peel right there, and definitely effectively got rid of 2 of those guards. Unfortunately, there is the one stone that is perfectly in line. Unfortunate if you're Uno, which I've heard you can call us Uno, so kind of like that. Loves his hits, we're hearing.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, he seemed excited to throw that big weight peel.
He's made a couple good hits in this game.
So if you're Bowdoin, you really got to try to perfectly bury behind that guard. And even then, you're sitting 2. Nebraska, you assume, is going to take out that guard, and then basically what it's just going to come down to is you need one more miss from Nebraska Omaha. Uno.
Gotta curl it in.
Well, I think that's pretty good. I think you got to go for the guard. I think that's the safer call, is going for the guard here. Just peel that. See what happens afterwards. You think we're going to get as big a weight this time?
Yeah, I think so. And if you hit it right, you might be able to move the reds in the fourth.
Yeah, you could run it back too. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Just run it back.
Hit a little high side nose, you might run it into the red that's in the top 4.
Proud Skip, love to see Isaiah throwing the big weight. Plays second on your team. Well, as a second, that's exactly what you want to see.
Big weight shot opens it up, gets rid of
timeout.
2 guards, which is
timeout.
Good.
Timeout is called over on sheet 3 here. So Bowdoin is going to talk about what they want to do with their final 2 stones of the end. UNO. So not Uno. Thank you.
Coach Evan Mulaney coming out, former RPI
I promise
curler.
I'll get it. I wonder if I get UNO another time on the feature stream. If so, I will make sure to not mess up a single time. You have my word here. Sorry, Pat, go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, Bowdoin's coach coming out, Evan Mulaney, former RPI curler, junior curler out of Broomstones, good curler.
So what is he telling them here?
You know, I think if I'm Bowdoin, I think I'm throwing one more guard here. You might opt to peel it, and then at that point, then you just try to draw one. You know, freeze it right into the one that's on the button. Make it hard for them to get rid of multiple. I think guard's still the call here.
I like it. I like your call. I think you guard, see if you get a missed peel, and then you put your 3rd one in.
I think that's what they're looking at. Just how deep do you want this guard? You know, do you want it higher? Do you want it closer to the house?
Yep. That's a good topic. I appreciate you appreciate me trying, and I don't want to give off the reputation that us Northeasterners, you know, I know we sometimes have a crude reputation for just, you know, being careless or thoughtless. So I don't want to give into that stereotype here. So those of you listening from Omaha, my sincerest apologies again for continuing to call you guys just Nebraska, as if you were from Lincoln instead of Omaha. Anyway, so it seems like the timeout's over here from Bowdoin. They are going to be lining up their first skip rock with Miles Benson here. And we'll see what the result is. Wide open front, which is what Nebraska wants, but 2 stones in the 4-foot, which is what Bowdoin wants. All right, so this stone looks like it's going to be in the house, and it's not going to be really guarding their stone, but it is 3rd count, so they are at least, as I said, bare minimum for Bowdoin is they have to at some point sit 1, 2, 3. And
which one do you like hitting here, Brad?
I like hitting the top one that they're looking at right now. The double's there. If you double those stones out, game's over.
Yep.
I think that's the right call there.
Yeah, you can see all of it.
I don't mind coming from the inside, so that way if you miss wide, you at least hit something. You got to get a stone out of play here.
Yep.
So I like coming wide is scary because this is a line that's been very finicky. So I wouldn't hate coming inside out, and just knowing that, if I miss and I just pick out that top red, it's fine. But
they're taking real tight ice here. I think this is the right call because even if you overcurl a little bit,
exactly. Just don't shove it wide. Exactly. You can nose that top red, and that's okay.
And nose is real close to getting the double.
Yeah, and even if you're just inside nose, Bowdoin's got to do something because then your yellow is just going to be right on top of that.
Yep.
Couple of 2, and you got to find a way to get around it and be behind it. Got a lot of support.
There. The triple's always there.
The triple's always there. You don't need the triple, though. You just need the double. All right, the stone's hanging a little wide. It'll just get the 1, so Bowdoin is still alive. This is guaranteed, though. There is no mathematical way that Bowdoin can win the game in this 8th end. They need this stone to be touching paint, and they need a miss from Omaha on Sawyer's last stone. There is no guarding at this point.
Yeah.
You throw a guard, the game is over.
Looks like they want to go the other way with this.
Interesting. They've been throwing that same line. I wonder.
They've been throwing that out turn quite a bit, and I would suspect that they want to go the same way.
Yeah. That's right. They realize they have plenty of time on the clock. As we mentioned, their thinking time is definitely aplenty. So they are comfortable taking a little time to make sure that they're coming the right way, they're throwing the right stone.
Yeah, and you're right. Any contact on those, on that last shot is pretty good.
Exactly. You got to touch paint, and then you just got to have a flash or something crazy from Sawyer. Is there a way to make this as difficult of a shot for Sawyer, or not really?
I don't know. That's the question. Where do you want to put it to make it real hard for them to take out one of those reds?
Yeah,
I think originally they said top 12 kind of right on the center line, and I think that's an okay spot.
Yep, but even then, Sawyer just has to throw big weight. Even with if you throw big weight and you hit a stone, as long as you hit it with a good enough piece, any amount of jamming on these other stones, at least one of those reds is going to go out of play, right?
Yeah.
I guess try to not increase the cross-sectional area if you're looking at it down the ice. Try to not give him a wide target. Make the target as narrow as possible. That's probably all you can do here. Yeah, comment here is kind of on the same note. Draw away from everything. Hope they catch the wrong side of one of the squirrely lines. Yeah, like you could just draw to the wing here and basically say,
and they thought about that too, which I think is okay as well.
Well, they are in the house, so you're saying there's a chance. But that is a fairly wide target there, and they're going to call timeout to talk this over. I don't think they need it, but just to ensure that they do not lose based on timing concerns, which doesn't seem like there is timing concerns. But
give you all the time you need to
take all the time you need, get in the hack, and throw a missile down the center line, basically.
Think about your shot.
Yep, just need one stone to get out of play and the game's over. Hats off to Bowdoin, though. They've really scrapped and clawed these last few ends to get back in this and at least give themselves a chance.
Yeah, give them, Sawyer's going to make a shot here. So, good on Bowdoin for, coming back and, making the Omaha skip, throw his last rock.
Absolutely. Probably have about 6 minutes to throw this hit, yeah. Sounds about right.
Rocks away.
Rocks away. Sweepers aren't touching it.
Looks real good.
I mean, it just has to hit something. And it does.
Nice shot.
Bowdoin will take their 2, so the official score will go down as a 10-9 game, 19 points and 8 ends. But congratulations to University of Nebraska Omaha, UNO. They have defeated Bowdoin today. Battle of 2 1-0 teams. So University of Nebraska Omaha is in a really good position to advance out of this pool. Pool C here. Or excuse
Lots
me,
of good
Pool
shots
B.
from Omaha.
Absolutely.
Especially their skip. He had a lot of good hits to.
Absolutely, but Bowdoin's still in a good position at 1-1. They will conclude tomorrow morning with pool play.
We'll go around to some of the other sheets.
Yes, and
sheet 2 looks like that game's just about finished up.
Yeah, getting close there. And thank you to everyone on the stream. Thank you for your commentary and your discussion. I promise I will get UNO at some point. I may even come visit Omaha, Nebraska, just to send my condolences. Anyways, thank you guys all for watching the stream. And we will switch over to one of the other sheets now. It looks like we're on sheet 4, where University of, Colorado State University has turned around this game where now they're up 2. They're sitting 2, undercover, and a timeout is called by Minnesota. So Minnesota's in a lot of danger here. And we'll go back to sheet number 2 to see the conclusion of RPI, where it looks like they have a timeout. You recognize that coach, Pat?
Yeah, that's good old Dave Fink. He's been curling for a long time. He's won a lot of things. He's a great guy.
Absolutely. He's a
great
mentor
having
to a
Dave
lot
Fink.
of us here at the club, and
He sure is. He's not afraid to talk curling and give everybody great advice, and he's helped all of us out quite a bit.
And fun fact I learned is his sister is actually the coach of the team that we just saw win on sheet 3, University of Nebraska Omaha, is Dave Fink's sister. So I guess it's a small world. Maybe curling just it's a genetic thing, maybe.
Yeah.
So
Dave's for this year specifically. Dave's done a lot with the RPI team, staying late, after hours to watch them, coach them a bit.
Absolutely. So what does RPI need here? They're down 3. They have the hammer. It looks like this is Skip's second to last shot, meaning they need all 3 of these stones that are left to count.
I don't know. What do you do here? Do you ever you can try to corner freeze on the yellow maybe, or I don't mind even bumping that red into the yellow and just moving the yellow back to back 12. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe even less. I'm even okay if that just moves back a foot,
right.
And then seeing if they try the double and if it just run jams. By they, I mean UPenn here. But this stone is sailing. It's got to slow down. If you're RPI, this has to stay in the house or the game's over.
Looks like that might be it, unfortunately.
And that is handshakes right there. So UPenn, who lost their game this morning, has defeated RPI. And so we have UPenn at 1-1, RPI at 1-1 in Pool C, and thank you. And now we are looking at sheet 4. Sheet 4. If Colorado State wins, they would be 2-0 in that pool, with Minnesota being 0-2. And this is the final game from this draw. So it looks like right now Colorado State is sitting shot rock behind some coverage up front. Minnesota, I don't think that's a biter, that red rock that's over on the wing there. And so Minnesota needs to get 2 stones in play. Now, one thing I will say about Brandon Polo's skip here for Colorado State from watching him this morning. In the final end, there was actually a draw that he attempted that ended up just over curling and ended up nicking a stone open. And it came down to a final stone. It was pretty exciting against UPenn this morning. Unfortunately, UPenn's stone ticked the same guard that Brandon's had ended up ticking. But it is important to note that really right now, if you're Brandon, maybe you learned from this morning, just don't do any damage. You're sitting shot rock here. Don't do anything that's going to make it easier for Minnesota to get their points. And oof. Okay. That's okay. Actually a good result. That's just 2 staggered guards. That's a pretty good result. If that had curled another 1.5 inches, that might have been unfortunate. It might have opened up a port for Minnesota to get to, but that is an excellent result right there.
Minnesota's lining up this yellow-red. Maybe you get the angle there.
Yeah, maybe.
Top, the yellow top 4.
This is definitely a test of that drag effect. If anyone's still watching the stream, this is a true test of that drag effect, because I think that if it's lined up, it looks like it's going to spill, but we'll see.
You might get a little bit of a drag on it. Yeah.
Well, I received some feedback from a friend.
That's about it.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I received some feedback from a friend today.
Yeah, you open it up, that's fine too.
Apparently, on the stream I had with Matt Green earlier today, we sounded like estranged lovers on the call. So hopefully we did better than that.
A lot of good team bonding right there.
Absolutely.
Commentator bonding.
Absolutely. Just to let audience know here, there is 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock for Minnesota for their final 2 stones here. It may not matter depending on the result here.
And if I heard right this morning, Minnesota won it last year, so let's see if...
I believe Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin-Madison won last year.
Sweepers are on it. They're up. It looks real close, yeah.
It does look close. Is it going to hit the way they want it to? Oh, it will hit that yellow, but the red's going to spill out. And remember, Minnesota needs to get 2 here. And I don't know if that's there. Colorado's going to use their time. Colorado State is going to use their timeout here. So Colorado State has 1 stone remaining. They have 1 minute 54 in addition to this timeout, so clock shouldn't be a factor for them. Boy, that would be a tough way to lose. If you're up 2, sitting shot rock, basically it looks like the other team has nothing they can really do, and you've run out of time.
Yeah, right.
But that should not be a factor here. It looks like they just called the timeout to 100% ensure there was no issue. Looks like they're just going to draw a second rock in and make it so that Minnesota has no shot for their hammer.
They put a second one in. I think that's just about it.
Yeah, I think it's handshakes right there.
Even with the way the house is sitting right now, it's real hard for Minnesota.
I don't even think that stone's biting that red rock.
It's not. You might be able to hit that red into the other red, have it run back, and maybe you split, the guard into the house. The other one jams on the yellow. That's a real hard shot. So.
And this is impressive from some of the teams. University of Nebraska Omaha, UNO, this was their debut at College Nationals. This is Colorado State University's debut. And both teams, look like they're on the cusp of being 2-0. That's a fantastic draw right there.
That's a good draw.
And that's probably going to be handshakes right now. I don't see anything here, unfortunately. As I've said many times in the stream, when you have hammer, anything's possible, but I think I might take that back here. I don't know if anything's possible here.
The second red doesn't get the house. You have to have that guard. They would have to just draw an angle.
They are also running low on clock. There's 54 seconds left for them to throw this rock. Not that it particularly matters, but...
got everybody in the warm room trying to decide how that how the shot can get made. And
I think maybe you throw a missile on that top red, hope that it somehow doubles those yellows, and the red has enough spin on it that it spins in. Even that, I'm pretty sure that's not physically possible. Clock is running low. I don't know if they're aware of this. They are skating down with 21 seconds on the clock here to try to get this shot off. Again, I don't think anything's possible, but it would be fun to at least get the shot off. My friend here, Brian Stewart, I'm sure doesn't want to, end this game because of a time violation. 6 seconds, 5 seconds, up, and they got it off. They got it off. So they did make the clock. We'll see what happens here with this shot. It did spill one in. I mean, honestly, it was kind of a fun attempt there.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think it was anything physically possible.
If he doesn't make that draw, that shot was pretty close.
Absolutely. And that'll be handshakes over on sheet 4. So with that,
it for our 4 p.m. games.
That has ended draw number 3. Thank you to everyone who has been staying with us watching College Nationals 2026 here at Schenectady Curling Club. With that, I'm Brad Johnson.
I'm Pat Howard.
And we will be signing off. See you guys tonight.